Well, KCAU-9 is celebrating another Siouxland community and our latest edition of Hometown Proud, this time in Ida Grove. And that's where we find our own Tim Seaman, who's at the Heritage Days Fishing Derby that got underway at 5. He's going to talk about Heritage Days and a whole lot more going on in Ida Grove. Tim.
Hey Travis, it is a beautiful day here in Ida Grove. The sun's out, we're in some shade, and we really couldn't be more excited than we are about being here in Ida Grove for Hometown Proud. Great little community, and we're going to tell you more about it here during our 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock newscast as Heritage Days are now underway. This community may only have a couple of thousand folks that live here, but there's a lot of unique stories, both past and present. Community members now using history to help build on this town's future. From unique architecture to international industries, small town communities with a lot of love at home here. Ida Grove indeed is what I would call a hidden gem. One of those gems is behind me right now is Heritage Days, now in its second day, and this year's fishing derby is underway. It started at 5 o'clock. I'll step out of the way here for just a couple of minutes. Kids of all ages here fishing for 1 hour at the 5th annual fishing derby at Cobb Park. Kids of all ages, boys and girls, will fish for an hour, and then they'll weigh the heaviest fish, and there are like 100 different prizes that will be given away here yet this afternoon to those who have success on the pond. Want to take time for just a second to introduce you to the person that is responsible for this fishing derby. Shannon Hopkins is with me now, and Shannon, I know that today is a bittersweet day for you, but it brings joy, I know, to you to see this many kids out here.
Yes,
this day has special meaning for you.
Yes, it certainly does. In January of 2020, I lost my son he was murdered in Mapleton, and I wanted to figure out a memorial for him, and I thought he loved fishing. So we're now in the 5th annual Joseph Hopkins Memorial Fishing Contest.
It's got to warm your heart to see all these kids out here.
It does, and it really warms my heart that it's such a huge success.
Congratulations on today. Our thoughts are with you today, and enjoy the rest of this hour while they're going after the lunkers.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you for being with us. Obviously, the town of Ida Grove wasn't like this 100 years ago when things got started, that is for sure. It was founded back in the 1800s, all the way to the present. This town from then to now certainly has changed just a bit. A couple pivotal points, though, in history that have made this town what it is. KCAU-9 reporter and Ida Grove native, by the way, Tyler Euchner is here with me this afternoon and has more about some of that history that's made this community what it is. Tyler?
Thanks, Tim. I gotta say, the name Ida Grove actually was started up by one of its earliest settlers. The Ida portion comes from the fact that we're in Ida County, and that was established during the time period that the first settlers kind of came in. And then the Grove part was actually kind of chosen a little bit interestingly by the fact that there were some trees as well as just the landscape that was right next to the settlers' home.
There was one man who settled, well, his name was Samuel King, and he settled in 1855, I believe. But he only stayed a year. But the following year, the Comstock family moved in and settled. And the next month, the Moorhead family came in to settle, and they were just a few miles apart.
When the Comstock and Moorhead families first moved to the area, it was called the Village of Ida. And the settlement grew over time due to the construction of a post office, courthouse, and several other buildings. It wasn't until 1887 that the town would truly flourish.
The railroad owned almost all of Ida County, and so they had land to sell, and they're the ones that brought people out here. They advertised all over out east. I know some of my great-grandparents came from Pennsylvania. There was virtually nobody living in this county until the railroad came, and then the railroad really recruited people to live here.
Not long after the arrival of the Chicago and Northwestern Railroad, the name Ida Grove was given to the town, thought up by Mrs. Moorhead. 5 years after the railroads arrived, Ida Grove's population would eventually reach 2,000 people, and the town was booming. However, the Great Depression would eventually hit the town hard.
Life was really miserable during the 1920s, and it really went down. And the 30s weren't much better. I can remember the 1950s even. There were just empty store buildings in Ida Grove, and it really went down from about 1920 to 1950.
It wasn't until a man by the name of Harold Goberson moved from Mapleton, Iowa to Ida Grove that the town would be revived.
And that's the best thing that ever happened to us, because he had such an inventive mind, and he's got all kinds of industry started here. And then he brought his younger brother.
Harold and Byron Goberson made many changes to the town. Harold founded Goberson Smith Construction Company in 1946, and with his son Gary, eventually founded Gomeco in 1965, constructing and selling all sorts of construction equipment, while Byron created Midwest Industries in 1954, and originally focused on agriculture equipment like the bolster hoist, which tilts grain boxes and empties them. But in 1959, the company pivoted to creating boating products. Both companies are still here today and are a vital part of the community.
Well, it sure made a lot of interesting jobs. The employees of Midwest and Gomeco, they have products that they have to service all over the world.
Now, I gotta say, growing up in Ida Grove all my life, I never quite knew exactly the reason behind a lot of these castles, like the one right behind me. But I recently learned that Byron Goberson was actually behind a lot of these, and they were constructed, from what I've been able to find out, during the 1970s. And it's just because he really liked castles. Now I'm gonna send it back to you, Tim, live in Ida Grove, Iowa. Tyler Euchner, KCAU-9 News.
All right, Tyler, the Goberson name is one that a lot of folks know here in Ida Grove. Throughout the school district, though, OA-BCIG, there's another name that a lot of people know, and that's an alum that's making big news in the National Football League these days. Of course, talking about Cooper DeJean, another name that if you didn't know it a couple of years ago, you probably do now. A 2020 graduate from OA-BCIG has made a name as a rookie in the National Football League, of course, playing for the Eagles this past year and winning a Super Bowl. His college career with the Iowa Hawkeyes, as well as his high school performances, indeed set records and picked up titles. DeJean is definitely a point of pride for many folks around Ida Grove and the OA-BCIG school district as well. We talked about today being a big day, but Saturday is really the big day here for Heritage Days. And Matt Grell joins me to talk about that. Matt, thanks.
Yes, thank you.
You've got things pretty much throughout the day tomorrow.
Yes, we do. We have, starting off at 8 o'clock in the morning, we have the coffee and car show, and that goes from 8 to 11. And then we turn around and have the parade. And then we have a fun-filled activities down at the city park.
And it's all family fun tonight. It's mostly adult fun because you have some stuff going on at the bowling alley, right?
Yes, we do. We have the live band tonight. And we also have fun things for the kids. We got foam party. And there's a cribbage game going on, too.
That's a good lineup and a lot of activities throughout the weekend, like we say, lots of things for different age groups and different folks. Let folks know just briefly, this Heritage Days has been going on for many years. And how did it get started?
I'm not really for sure because I just joined the committee about 4 years ago, so I'm just fresh.
It's decades old, I do know that, and folks look forward to it every year. A great crowd here at your fishing derby again.
We do. We have a great crowd.
All right, Matt, thanks for stopping by. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
You bet. Again, the fishing derby runs right here until 6 o'clock. Ida Grove's history lays a solid foundation for this town's future, that is for sure. There's a couple of ways that you can know that. The pharmacy, soda fountain, in fact, is just one example of revitalizing a part of history for the modern times. It's a 100-year-old former pharmacy, and it's been restored so people in the community have a place to gather, enjoy ice cream or coffee, and simply just connect with others. The owner of the pharmacy telling us that restoring another historic property helped inspire a new passion for him.
During that, we're in the process of kind of acquiring this building, and I just had developed a passion probably, with the involvement of the King Theater, the community, my wife and I live out on the farm, which we love it out there, but being involved in town, just having that community involvement is just on a whole nother level.
Hey, it is a great day here, no doubt about that. I'm going to step aside just a second. I don't know if we can see it or not. Show us that fish you just pulled up. Can you see that, J-Mac? That's the kind of fun they're having here. this afternoon. And as I say, that continues this evening, tomorrow, and right into Sunday. So that's the update for now. We'll be back later in the newscast, also at 6. Victor's standing by. He has your forecast from right here in Ida Grove as well. But in the meantime, back to the studio with Travis Chin.